All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. We got a great crowd. We got great weather, right? Yeah, buddy.
Money, what an event you got going
buddy?
on here.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for coming, pal. Thanks for coming.
Second year. Let's talk
Second anniversary.
about this.
Yeah, so second annual Autism Summerfest. And we're all just coming out here with a bunch of my friends trying to raise money for autism awareness and the opiate addiction. And, you know, as we know, the opiate addiction is a real big problem these days. And, you know, we're trying to do our little part, very little part, to, you know, help pitch in and help the cause.
The best of the best. You got Gronkowski coming. You got the Tukka. He's in the house.
Now, what about this event? I mean, autism, it's unbelievable. I mean,
yeah,
what's going on?
this is the first time I've done this. I mean, everybody knows Eric in the city of Boston, and, you know, it's a great thing that he put this together. I know he's got some ties to autism, so, you know, anything for a great cause. I'm happy to see Boston Bruins Foundation is involved, and, you know, us players, we just try to make time in our calendars to show up.
So I am with the 2019 Miss Massachusetts. Wow.
Wow.
What a lucky guy I am.
You know.
So here I'm with Torey Krug. Are you shitting me? I got this guy here? What brought you out here today?
Just supporting a great cause, good friends, good people. Just hopefully have a great day.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, sir? Wow, I love your jacket.
Do you love my jacket?
Yes, I do. I love Mondays.
What do you think about this jacket?
I think it's a wonderful jacket. I think everyone should love Mondays because you know, mostly people go like, oh, I hate Mondays. You know, they're so negative. Just like it's the beginning of the work week. It's just the beginning of another week in general. And it's a positive day, just like every day.
Monday.
What's
Let me
up?
just tell you something. You're a little more handsome than I thought you were going to be.
Yeah. I was working on it all summer, a little tan, you know.
You're not freaking bad. I mean, you got the blue eyes going.
I like European, man.
That's all right. So pasta, I like the nickname because I'm Italian and I love pasta. So I think the nickname's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mr. Mondays, are you out there? My dude.
And I want to congratulate you.
Thank you,
Thank
man.
you for all the years.
Yes, thank you.
You know, I mean, I hate to see you not playing, but I'm glad you're healthy. That's all that
thank
matters.
you, man. Appreciate
The
it.
CBDs are pretty good too, huh?
Yeah, CBD, rub that on. I gave some to Lenny. Lenny's like, yo, Rob, my back hurts. All right, how can I crack jokes? I was like, here, Lenny, let me rub some CBD ointment on you. And he was like, oh, okay, here we go. I was like, now he's back up on stage. So, yeah, Lenny's back up on stage now. He got loose.
So tell me, how did you become Miss Massachusetts? What happened?
I competed my entire life for it. I basically just put on a bathing suit and heels and said, please, give me the crowd. No.
Was that what, really? Do you have a picture of that?
I have a picture of that. It is on the website if you Google my name. Yes.
Okay, tell our fans where to Google.
www.google.
www.what?
Google.com.
Okay.
I hate Mondays, but I like them now because of Carlo.
Starting to love Mondays, so start turning them. So, Tukka, want to know if you like Mondays?
I love Mondays.
This guy loves Mondays. The best.
Who doesn't?
I love Mondays.
Brock loves Mondays.
That's right, he does. That's right.
I love Mondays.
Monday. Carlos.
Welcome to the I Love Monday show. I'm your host, Mr. Monday. And who do I have with me tonight but Donnie Crazy Leg Zollo.
Yeah!
You see him dancing? You see him dancing the other night at the show?
I've been getting a lot of Elaine feedback on my dancing.
You were cutting the rug.
Well, you know, there's this sweet spot of 17 to 19 drinks where I'm quite adept on the dance floor.
Well, it was cocaine time. We thought you were dancing with Mr. Brownstone. But
Yeah.
Looked like you had ants in your pants.
You're just jealous. I was crushing it at that night's.
I mean, you want to have a dance off with me too? You want to play me in hoop, have a dance off with me? I mean,
and you'll lose in both.
I don't think so.
I am a college.
Another challenge.
Excuse me. I was a college basketball player, and I've been known to rip up the alley in the late '90s and early 2000s.
Where did you go? What clubs?
Oh God, what was the Big Easy? That's what they called the. That was what it was called, the Big Easy.
The Thirsties. Did you go to the Wonderland Ballroom and dance with the old ladies?
The only time I've ever been in the Wonderland Ballroom is I did a comedy show benefit for Rivera's Tornado Fund, and the ballroom.
That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and the ballroom holds 4,000 people. 14 people showed up. 14.
And you hosted it, because you hosted it?
I hosted it.
Yeah.
It was fucking brutal.
Take a hint, buddy. Jesus. So we had that event the other night. 170 people were there.
Yeah!
Great time.
That's crazy.
Klusky, you had a good time.
I did. I was auctioned off for $2,000. I have to go to a lady's house and like massage her calves or something. I don't understand the.
How much was Mr. Monday auction off for?
Honestly,
yeah. Let's just tell everybody.
You got $40.
I mean, seriously.
It was a night. It was a dinner.
I was auctioning off for
Monday
for 2 12-packs.
$40. That means we're gonna get you like Panera in a magazine. I don't know what we're supposed to do.
The word fucking losers, fucking loser pops to my mind when I hear $40.
That's worse than the people who showed up for your tornado party.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Between both of us, we'll be able to like, if we
How about if just me and you go out that day instead of the girl who's paid $40 to me? She should have paid $400.
If she upped it to $100, we would have sent her on a totally romantic Dave and Buster's thing.
Do we even know who she is?
Her name's Stephanie.
Okay. How about those Patriots yesterday, Klusky? I'm not asking you this question.
Did she leave you with money? Did she pay for it up front, or is she going to Antonio Brown you?
She paid in pennies.
No, we have to contact her. Stephanie, we have your information.
You're getting Antonio Brown.
We're going to either call you tonight or I'll show up at your door.
Are the Patriots this good, or is the league this bad?
The league is this bad, but they are also that good. It's crazy. However, we don't play the Super Bowl in September.
True.
Okay, but I'm not going to be one of these.
Okay, Bill.
I'm not going to be one of these Yankee fans they're like, oh my God, we got a 4-game lead in the division. We're totally winning the World Series. Like, no, this is almost meaningless at this point in the season.
What's your boy Fitzy saying about all this?
He's completely on board with where they're at right now, but he realizes that we don't play the Super Bowl in September.
What's El Prez saying about this? Who cares? All right, Klusky. So who is Miss Monday this week?
Miss Monday this week is Tiffany. She's a stylish blogger, and she writes for 3 different Boston-based magazines. None of the ones I subscribe to. These are all decent affiliates. Tiffany loves Mondays because it's like a mini New Year's Day each week.
I like that
attitude. It's a chance for you to start fresh and be productive. Or reproductive, right? That's a fun time, too. Miss Monday is brought to you by John's Roast Beef at 111 Western Ave in Lynn. Head down for a sushi bowl. Roast beef sandwich or a steak tip dinner.
Huh? God bless her.
Reproductive hips in her yoga pants.
Yeah. And I think she might be Italian. Her name is Oneal, by the way. So that's right up our
another
alley.
reason to love her.
John's Roast Beef. Guy is amazing.
Oh, they catered the party. I ate like 40 sliders.
You know what? I want to thank everyone who helped us out with the party. We had so many donations. I mean, so many food donations. It was amazing. And then people were just giving gift cards, raffle dollars. We made a lot of money for the veterans, so pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dawn gave the cop working the door a handy. Everything worked out.
Yeah, you guys look good together. Look like Chumley.
I don't know who Chumley is.
You don't know Chumley?
Oh, Chumley, the Pawn Stars? Yeah, all right.
I don't know.
All right, let's go to shoot the shit. Drunk Grammy gets a lifetime ban from Disney.
Ellen McMillan was banned from Disney parks in Florida on Thursday. This intoxicated grandmother was arrested for allegedly trying to slap a taxi driver outside of a Disney Hollywood studio. She said she had no cigarette. The guy had no cigarettes, and she just started abusing him. She also started kicking and accosting state troopers who came to calm her down, and she's been
kicking
banned.
State troopers.
She started kicking state troopers.
They have state troopers in Florida? I thought they were all sheriffs.
She was charged with disorderly intoxication and battery. Disney said, "You are banned from our park," and she can't ride.
I got to be honest with you. There's a part of me that doesn't believe it because she really looks like she's got her shit together. So
she's the oldest looking 53-year-old I've ever seen in my life.
Well.
Okay, you see her? Look at her.
She lives in Florida, and she's a grandma.
Well, I think that's why she should look better, because most Florida grandmothers are in their 40s. And
it's the OxyContin. It ages them.
I mean, she's obviously a booze bag, and she's wrinkled up.
I'm surprised they let elderly people into Disney World, right? That's going to scare the kids. They're going to get a heart attack on one of these rides. It's a liability thing. I'm
sorry. Anyone who wears a Star Wars shirt is a weirdo to me. I'm sorry. There's a lot of Star Wars people out there, like Pete Morell. I know you love Star Wars. You're a weirdo. If you're wearing a Star Wars shirt and you're like in your 60s or in your 50s, there's something wrong with you. Reevaluate yourself. That's how I feel about it. How about you? I'm sorry.
I liked it a lot when I was little. I could give a shit at this point in my life.
I didn't like it then. I don't like it now.
I liked it then. I liked it then a lot.
The shirts. Like, why represent Star Wars?
That's a beautiful $48 Star Wars t-shirt. You don't want that?
No, and she paid $48. She got ripped off. She's an idiot. She's an idiot anyways.
She's an odd size. It's a different thing.
Now, let's go to this woman. This woman married her childhood sweetheart who was in jail for 23 years.
Okay, Nina Hoffler. She's 29 years old. She was 16 when she first met her boyfriend, this guy Michael, and they'd only known each other for a few weeks, but they must have instantly hit it off. Within that short week span, he was arrested and sentenced to jail for 23 years, okay?
They're a good-looking couple, though. Look, she's got a
They
great
kept
chin.
in touch. She became a physical trainer, and now via mail, they've gotten married, and he wants to have conjugal visits with her. And they're considering it.
Here's what I don't get is how charming can your letters be that they overcome the fact that you're in jail?
Well, Dawn, if you'd ever return them, you'd know. I don't know what to tell you.
Dawn, do you think she's a virtuous woman or just a stupid bitch? Like, what do you think?
I wasn't going to stupid bitch. I was going to say maybe she has some errors in judgment, but that looks like love.
You talk like a parent sometimes. Like, you're not a parent, but you talk like one sometimes.
I didn't think that was coming across.
I think you should get your girlfriend
You guys are all of the clues are here, okay?
And become a parent.
She's self-conscious about her body, which is why she made her career be a physical trainer. She has an emotional attachment to this guy in jail who can never leave her or have sex with her. And then she's getting banged on the reg by the basketball players who she's training as a physical trainer. This whole story lays itself out.
So he's been in jail for 23 years, or
He's
that's how long the
sentenced to 23 years.
She's got a long end game. I actually respect that.
She sewed it up.
She's like 12 years from now.
This guy will have so much job training and
Yeah.
so much to offer a woman who's looking to retire. Yeah.
I bet you that when he
How's
gets
the
out,
microwave work?
when he gets
What year is
out, that's when the relationship falls apart. When he's got options.
Oh yeah.
Because right now his options aren't that attractive.
I know about 20 guys like this guy. $1 million smile, sleeve tattoos, full of shit.
Your accountant.
Look at him. You know what I'm saying? Full of shit.
What I don't understand is how are conjugal visits allowed?
Is that African?
A conjugal visit?
Yeah.
I've never met him, but he's been to the studio. I guess he signed in the book. Let's move to the next
I'm
one.
not sure what that word means.
It means you can do this. You can do the stuff with the lady.
I know what it means.
Behind the doors.
All right, let's go to this horse racing thing.
All right.
Triple Crown racehorse Justified failed a drug test weeks before the Kentucky Derby.
We've seen sports players whose whole careers were flushed down the toilet for failed drug tests. This horse, Justify, reportedly tested positive to the banned substance scopolamine. It's also known as histocene, and it's banned in the horse racing because it can increase the horse's breathing and heart rate. This disqualification, it's a forfeiture of the Kentucky Derby. Now there's no honor in this animal abusing, gambling event.
Are you shocked at this?
I am, because I know Justified, and he doesn't strike me as the kind of horse that would do this.
What do you think? Like, Justified's like Mr. Ed or something? Like a normal talk?
I just have a good feel for him, and like I'm not here to make light of it because anabolic steroids in the world of equine, in the equine world, is nothing to joke about. But I just feel bad for the horses that lose to him. You know, like the baseball players when Barry Bonds was popping home runs out.
A lot of the horse journalists and the horse magazines I've read said that a lot of the other horses were upset that he's being.
I've heard rumblings in the equine community.
Really?
They're not thrilled with it, but I'm not ready to put this on Justified.
What, did you hang down Suffolk Downs because you're a Revere boy?
I've been to Suffolk Downs back in the day. Horse racing was never really my thing. By the way, I have found this, that most horse racing places that I've been, because I've been to a few of them, outstanding pizza. Generally speaking, I think the more you go down the degenerate ladder, the better your pizza be. If you ever go to the Cabaret, they have fine pizza.
Have you ever pissed like a racehorse?
I've pissed like a racehorse many times.
What does that mean?
It just means you're filled with a lot of fluid. I think it's a larger member. It holds more volume. That's.
I just imagine more coming out.
That was a good response.
I think it's you're more well endowed, so you hold a lot more fluid.
But I mean, anything for an advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like Lasix is another thing that the horses take. Winstrol V,
Wait, they're doing LASIK surgery in the horses?
You don't know?
They're doing LASIK in the
You guys never heard of LASIX?
I have. And I could see if they could see the finish line better.
It helps you breathe in. It helps you breathe in, your blood flow. You guys don't know about this? And there are also steroids that you can get at your local gyms. People are taking...
You know LASIK is the eye surgery, so what would that have to do with your...
You never heard of LASIX for the horses?
No.
You're a real idiot.
I think that you're making it up.
Huh? I'm not making it up at all. Let's look it up after the show.
Mosquito.
Google it. Somebody Google it and, out there and just tell this guy what's going on.
LASIK, that's Hawaiian, right?
No, that's different. All right. What's the next one here? Tennessee, a drunken police sergeant arrested for crashing into a liquor store.
Police Sergeant Thomas Beryl, who's 62 years old, was arrested on Saturday. For crashing into a liquor store. He was so drunk that witnesses reported he was holding his eyeballs open with his fingers.
Wow, he went in hard in the Ford Ranger.
He was charged with a DUI, public intoxication, reckless driving, and he's been relieved of duty until they can investigate this. I don't know
how you come back from that.
His friend is going to investigate this.
I don't know how you come back from that. I don't. Like even if he's legally allowed to come back to his job, you're just looking at a lifetime of getting your balls broken by those guys.
This guy drinks on the job. There's no question in my mind.
Oh yeah.
You know?
If he's this deep into it, I would think so.
I mean, he drives a Ford Ranger.
Is that a notorious alcohol vehicle?
I'm just saying, the guy could have an F-150 for Christ's sakes.
But like cops are just like us. They're regular people. This guy made a mistake. 10 people are dead, I think. Is that anybody die in this?
No one died. Cut it out, Klesky.
Okay.
Jesus.
Hey, there's no more cool facts about this one. I'd like to think that.
Have you been to Tennessee?
I've been one time. I went to Graceland when I was driving to LA. And then I spent the rest, after I left Graceland, I drove for about 3 hours in Tennessee.
It seems like it'd be out of your way from Massachusetts to go.
No, you go.
It's the only place you can marry a 16-year-old.
You were lost?
I got the advice from Danny Kelly. You take Route 66, you drive down, then you bang a right about Virginia, and you just coast for about 2,600 miles. It was a good view. It was a nice drive.
Were you by yourself?
I was by myself. Did it in 4 days.
Did you find out a lot about yourself on that drive to California?
Actually, I ain't gonna bullshit you. I loved that drive. It was a very relaxing drive.
Was there cell phones back then?
There was cell phones, but I wasn't. It wasn't like
you didn't have any friends to talk to.
Social media or anything.
It was Nokiaville, like Nokia.
It was flip phone era.
Right. You still got one.
I'd love to have a flip phone. Flip phone allows you to talk, it allows you to text, but you're not married to this thing of pulling it out and looking at your phone every 4 seconds.
Yeah, HBO in your pocket is a severe distraction.
It's brutal.
Yeah,
it is. It's kind of like prisons.
Yeah, like your face is constantly buried in your phone.
Do you guys put your phone by your bed at night, or you leave it in another room?
I put it by my bed, and I use that shitty excuse. Well, it's got my alarm clock. Well, maybe I should spend $4 on an alarm clock.
Who do you use that excuse to?
To myself.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, just like
I thought you had someone you sleep with.
No, I'm just saying it in the most broadest sense.
I curl up in my favorite Star Wars T-shirt and put on one of the audio.
I got your little jab in there, like no one would sleep in.
I'm not saying. Hey, listen.
I understood your jab.
Listen, you had the prettiest girl, besides my wife, at the show the other night.
Well, I mean, this doesn't just happen, and ladies will appreciate it. This jawline.
I just screwed you up if there's any single girls out there.
Girls want a Chandler,
Am I the Chandler?
Yeah, you're a Chandler.
I like to think I scream Joey.
What do you mean by that, Klusk?
Have you ever seen the hit TV series Friends?
Yes, I have.
I'm just going through it on Netflix right now, and I feel like I just want to
I thought it was over.
It is, but I'm reliving every moment with the girls and the guys. It's just how life should be.
That 90s NBC Thursday night TV lineup was pretty strong. You had a strong hour of Friends.
I love when people look back like, oh, it's stupid, oh, it's racist.
Why do you guys stay and watch TV shows, by the way?
It was barely watchable then. How is it controversial now?
Oh, you're full of shit. It was totally watchable then, and I still enjoy it, and I'll stand by that, America. Yeah, you heard it.
Okay, you guys through? Can we go to the next one, please? In Florida, 2 men's burgers were cold, so they threatened the McDonald's staff with guns.
2 men were arrested at a McDonald's drive-thru after pulling a gun on an employee because their burgers were lukewarm. Jawan Davis and Jordan Dunn were charged in September. Davis reportedly said, "I don't play when it comes to food," and reordered his burgers.
Now, I know Davis, and in his defense, he doesn't play.
He doesn't.
He does not play.
Nope. We had that Monopoly League, and he just refused.
Look at all the guns he had in his trunk.
I kind of see eye to eye with him. Sometimes you feel taken advantage of, that you're paying, top quality dollar for commercial level food that you're expecting, and you get it and it looks less.
That's the creepiest looking Ronald McDonald I've ever seen in my life. Holy
it bothers
shit.
me that the headline implies that these men were in the wrong. This guy probably works a very difficult job, and he goes to a probably shitty McDonald's. This
You can't be pulling a gun out on anybody, Klusk.
You ever go to the McDonald's on the 114?
No, I don't go to McDonald's anywhere.
Well, you might need to start packing.
Why,
this guy pulled out a shotgun and a BB gun and said, "No cheese, no cheese."
A BB gun.
That's where I'm gonna stop defending him for a moment and be like, if you're getting a burger, you're getting cheese on it. That's my take. Anybody that doesn't get cheese on their burger, communist.
Do you know what you have to say to get a plain hamburger when you go to McDonald's?
Plain hamburger, please?
Do an incantation. Hi, could I please have a plain hamburger with nothing on it, no cheese, nothing on it, just plain? The bun and the burger. Okay, thank you. And then you get up there and there's like a fucking mustard cum stain thing on there.
You know what I like about, I will say this about McDonald's, is the Big Mac is a true double cheeseburger in the sense of it goes bun, burger, bun, as opposed to these like crappy places that try to, they try to screw you with just bun, burger, bun.
Ooh.
They got a bun buff.
Big Mac, filet of fish, quarter pound of French fries. Who's your favorite Sesame Street character?
I don't have one.
You don't have a favorite Sesame Street character. How about you?
I'm a big Grover guy. I'm glad you asked.
Been waiting to get that off your chest for a while.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. I want you to check out my interview with the Gronk last Saturday, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to be right back with comedian, producer. Okay,
It's not
John
comedian,
Tobin.
comedy
producer, John Tobin. See you in a few.
We'll get Gordon too.
I want him in too.
All right.
Hey, Mr. Monday, my first name's Gordon, by the way. I understand that. What do you think? What do you think? I knew your first name.
Well, you can't name all the brothers in order. This is Gordon. What number is he? Is he the youngest? The most?
He's the oldest. He's 36.
Ding, ding, ding.
He's 36.
Wow.
He already
this
told
is
me I was the
unbelievable.
youngest. He's the
All
best
right.
looking.
So who's
sorry?
Best looking and who's the youngest? Let's see how good he is.
Chris.
Oh, that was a good guess, but it's Chris's twin.
Oh, he's a minute before or something?
Yeah, he's got a twin who's the youngest brother.
Hey, the most important thing I want to congratulate you on is retirement.
Oh, thank you.
Because let me tell you something. You sacrifice your body for our city like no one ever did in their life. No other player ever sacrificed their body. And I want to congratulate you.
Thank you,
thank
man.
you for all the years.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, I hate to see you not playing, but I'm glad you're healthy. That's all that matters.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
The CBDs are pretty good too, huh?
Yeah, CBD. Rub that on. I gave some to Lenny. Lenny's like, yo, Rob, my back hurts. Hey, how can I crack jokes? I was like, here, Lenny, let me rub some CBD ointment on you. And he was like, oh, okay, here we go. I was like, now he's back up on stage. So, yeah, Lenny's back up on stage now. He got loose.
Listen, I was at Lenny in Vegas. He was wearing a G-string swimming.
There, because that's Lenny.
That's Lenny.
That's Lenny.
If he wasn't wearing that, then what would you think? He looks pretty good in
There
a
would be
G-string.
something wrong with Lenny.
How do you look in a G-string?
I look like a G.
Really?
A super G.
5 Gs. Yeah, 5 grand.
I'd be walking around, be sapping my butt like, oh.
We did a great interview with your girl at the Boston Bruins magazine.
Oh, yeah.
What a sweetheart she is.
Oh, yeah, she's awesome. She's the
too
best.
good for you.
Yeah, she's too good for me.
You know that, right?
Yeah, don't blow up her head too much. But yeah, she is. She's at Fashion Week right now in New York
What a
City.
sweetheart.
Yes, for
hey,
sure.
So you love Mondays or what?
Yeah. Do I love Mondays?
Yeah.
I love Mondays.
You do? You love Mondays?
I love Mondays. What about you, bro?
I told you, I treat my Mondays like a Saturday.
Wow.
Look at this guy.
Big Two. Hey, what's going on, Big Two? So head of security.
Head of
I gotta make sure Big Grunk's alright, and the brother.
And if
you
you
know what I'm
get too
saying?
close to me, Big Juice will throw you the frick out of
You
here.
already know. So now, you see how I keep looking around to make sure everything's alright. And I'm still working. I just want to get interview. How you doing?
How much can you bench press?
Not as much as Big Grunk, but
What's your best bench?
1,000 pounds.
Yeah? You get 1,000?
oh
You're
man,
like
I'm not about it. I'm about at 315. I can do that for about 7.
7 reps?
Yeah, about 7. That's nothing to him.
You need to bench a Volkswagen.
Oh man.
I'm not at 1,000 pounds.
No, but close to it.
You don't even need to lift weights. You don't even need to lift weights anymore.
Yeah, I don't need to lift anymore.
It's all done.
I do my push-ups.
Yeah, you still
Push.
You still gotta maintain. You still gotta maintain. You got to
Just do push-ups.
It's good for the mind and the body.
Exactly.
Maintain, continue to motivate yourself, continue to be an inspiration to
You want to know how I get jacked still? I take my CBD mimetic oil and I rub it on anyone that needs a treatment.
Oh yeah, man.
The chicks love it.
You rub it on Belichick.
If he needed some treatment, I would have to rub it on
Oh,
Belichick.
absolutely, absolutely.
He's gonna probably call me and say, Rob, I got some headaches. Come rub some medic on me. No problem.
Right.
Yeah, no problem.
No joke at all.
I gotta go rub some cream on
Hey,
it.
who do you miss the most out of all the players? Besides Tom?
Just everyone, just being around the whole like situation, being around the locker room like that. Yeah, exactly. Just everyone being part of it.
They miss you too, you know.
Yeah, I miss them too.
It's all right. You can go to the sidelines whenever you want.
Yeah, maybe call some plays and show off my guns like that. Yeah,
People
that's
say
what I
like
do.
you look more jacked than ever.
Exactly.
I think my guns is almost.
They don't know exactly. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about.
I think I got a little.
There we go.
Oh my God, man! Like, oh nah, man. That's the real deal.
Do that again.
That's the real deal. That's the real. Oh man.
Look at that.
Man, that's the real deal, huh?
Look at this.
Man.
Those ain't bad.
That thing is serious.
Those ain't bad.
I gotta get back to my
That's
job.
what I'm talking about.
Gronk, you're the best, man.
Yes, thank you,
God
man.
bless. Hall of Famer.
Thank you.
Hall of Famer.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Good
Hall
luck.
of Famer. That's what I'm talking
Good
about.
luck.
Hall of Famer because I rub CBD on everyone.
That's right.
Yeah. And I eat protein cookies and I shake my shake when I shake it.
Listen, would you rub CBD on my butt?
I'll rub it anywhere. On chicks anywhere.
Okay, all right.
Brock loves Mondays.
That's right, he does. That's right. All right, brother. You're the best, man. Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Gronk, pretty funny dude. I really loved his brother, by the way. John Tobin.
Hey, what's up, Mr.
How
Monday?
you doing? How are you? Thank you for
well.
coming. What's going on?
My pleasure.
So, comedy for 30 years, education for 30 years, they kind of go hand in hand, huh?
Well, it's more politics and education. But politics and comedy definitely go hand in hand.
So you've been in all the best clubs, comedy clubs, for the past 30 years.
I've been involved. I started as a door guy 27 years ago. Yeah, started for Dick Doherty at Light Ships. It was a boat next to the Children's Museum.
Even I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, that's where I first started. It was open 7 nights a week. And Dick was on Maddie Siegel. I worked at Kiss 108, and Dick was on Maddie's show one time. And I introduced myself to Dick because my parents used to go see him all the time when they were dating. He was like the big Dick Doherty.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he is. He's retired now. But he was the superstar comic like in the 60s and 70s. He was a singing comic and a happy hour guy. He had his own clubs.
The name like that, he sounds like a comedian.
Yeah. And,
I always remember when I was younger, this is the thing about Boston comedy, like in the 80s and stuff. There's no internet. Like cable TV wasn't as big as it was, and yet you'd still just hear all these little tidbits of Boston comedians just from word of mouth. And I always remember the name from the 1980s. I can remember people talking about Dirty Dick Doherty.
Dirty Dick Doherty, yeah.
Do you guys remember when cable TV came out? Like, do you remember when cable started?
Yeah, it was like HBO had like 3 hours of programming a week.
It was like nuts.
Yeah.
I remember, well, before cable, it was Preview and Starcase.
Right.
You had like a box and you got a guidebook.
I know.
And
I
you go
have
check
no
it out.
idea
Like,
what that is.
you couldn't wait for Blue Lagoon to be on.
Did you say you were a doorman and the place was an actual boat?
It was on a boat. It's called Light Ships, and it took me 2 weeks to realize that it was actually on a boat. You would think after a while. Sometimes I'd walk down into work, and then sometimes I'd walk up out of work, and 2 weeks it took me to realize it was actually on the water.
Were you drinking a lot back then?
Well, yeah, there was a lot of late nights there. Well, there's a great story because Dick, he'd pay all the comedians. He wouldn't pay them in cash. He'd pay them in Dick bucks. So a headliner would get $15 Dick bucks, $10 for the feature, and then $5 for the opener.
Are you sure you didn't work at the Ramrod?
Yeah. But it was Dick Doherty's face in the middle of a thing. So all the comedians would hang out and, buy cheeseburgers and have a beer or a drink or whatever. And then after, we were open for 3 months, there was an upstairs, like a classier joint, and all the comedians, I'd have to go get them. They're having double-stuffed lobsters and champagne. What the hell's going on? Someone counterfeited the Dick bucks, a comedian. And they were just,
wow.
The restaurant went out of business 6 months later.
Wow.
Thanks to Boston
So,
Comedy.
the waiter would accept Dick bucks? Like as
Yeah, that's what they got. That was the currency, yeah. I mean,
Wow.
there were like comedians upstairs just going, just making it rain with Dick
Who were
bucks.
some of the famous comedians at this place?
Oh, geez. I mean, this
Everybody?
is... Dane Cook was still in an improv group called Al and the Monkeys with Bobby Kelly, who was Medford guy. And so they were still an improv, group. It was Joe Rogan. Bill Burr came on a year or two later.
Shit.
But it was all like the Mount Rushmore comedy, Gavin, Lenny,
I never met Gavin. He's a guy I want to get up here.
He's my favorite comedian of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
Just say that publicly.
What's that?
You just said that publicly.
I have no qualms with it whatsoever.
That's cool. Huh?
I love him.
He's that good, huh?
He's one of the greatest human beings ever. I grew up on his street in West Roxbury, and he's classes. And I went to the same high school. We're 25 years apart, but he's a legend. And he
is like one of those guys that like like I've probably done shows with him, I don't know, 30, 40 different times. Whenever I do it, I'm like, oh, Gavin's on tonight. Like, oh, she's, and it's like...
He's in the hunt now, I heard.
You watch him...
He is in the hunt. He's been up there for years. Yeah.
You watch him do shows, and the thing I love about Gavin is it's like, it could be a group of millennials in his comedy. Even though it's not necessarily geared towards them, they still get it. Then I did a show with him a month ago. The average age was 75. I bombed, and Gavin just went out there and 40 minutes just of them eating out of his hand.
How the hell do you go up for 40 minutes?
Killer.
How can someone do that? It's like crazy.
Well, he's got. I mean, all those guys that started off, back in the day at the Ding Ho, they would all do their comedy, and then the new people they put on after them. So like Lenny and Gav and those guys would go on, and then they put the new guy on and heckle them from the bar. Heckle the comedian.
Trial by fire type of
Yeah,
thing,
they just
right?
made them tougher.
You got no choice but to get better.
You just had to get better, or don't come back.
I never get a good vibe from Boston comedians about Dane Cook. They all kind of like...
I think it's a bad rap. I think Dane was always kind of like stuck to himself. He didn't hang out. He never really drank, did drugs or anything like that. But he didn't hang out after shows. He just went home and he just write, and he took his first $25 grand and put it into MySpace. But he would go to like college.
But that was brilliant. That was
turns out brilliant.
I mean, I can see why you're a politician now.
Why?
With that answer.
Well, no, I've always had respect. Oh, believe me, there's some Boston comedians that you can take them. I love everybody from Boston who makes it, as long as they're not a dink.
Right.
I mean,
that's a great word, by the way. Not used enough.
Yeah,
dink.
A dink.
He's a dink right there, Klusky.
Or a fink.
Actually, no, you're a dink.
Or a twerp. Those are great words. So
moron.
You know. But Dane was always stuck to himself, and I think it cut. You think about it, for a lot of comedians, people who grinded out in the 70s and 80s and lived tough lives.
Right.
It's kind of like a baseball player who was a great shortstop back in the 60s who had to deliver oil to make ends meet in the wintertime.
Sure.
And then you look and there's a utility guy who would play 60 games a year, making $11 million a year. It grinds your gears.
Right.
And I think a lot of comedians kind of felt that way.
It was more of a resentment thing, and as a comic, that sucks because he was putting out good stuff. I thought he was funny. I think that the combination of that and taking off your shirt during your set kind of put some people.
Who took the shirt off?
Dane Cook was taking
Why'd you look bad naked?
No, he's
but they were
gorgeous man. But like, you have to balance this line with guys.
He really kind of made it a rock star event in Boston.
Yeah.
Like I would always say, Dane Cook in a comedy club with 300 people on it, the roof would come off the top of the building.
Oh, the guy's
Right?
talented.
He's amazing.
It's just like every time we've had a comedian, someone up here, and you bring his name up, it's like...
I think
it's like the elephant in the room.
There was a guy talking trash about him in Montreal, the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival, and it's 2:00 in the morning. He runs comedy clubs in other parts of the country, and he was talking trash about him. And I didn't say anything, but he could see the look on my face. He said, "You want to challenge me to it?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I just, I said I think he was misunderstood a lot, and he had some family problems and some issues. But the kid ended up in movies.
Yeah, right.
Sold out arena.
He was before he exploded. He was still doing he had ridiculous college shows, just ridiculous strings of thousands upon thousands of people coming out, and that was before he exploded. And then when he exploded, he took a lot of heat. There was a lot of jealousy.
If he didn't make it, the same people would have been saying, that guy should have made it. He's great.
I gotta say,
I know.
I listened to his album Retaliation, and I think it's one of the funniest albums. I just listened to it, and I'm like, it's just a, I don't know, it's like a different. It was different than what everybody else was doing, and I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was unbelievable. That guy deserves all the success he got.
Yeah, I agree.
How much has comedy changed, though? Because you could say anything you wanted 20, 25 years ago. Now everyone's offended about everything.
That's crazy. It's just
it's ruined the comedy business a little bit?
I always like to think of comedy clubs as kind of cocoons. I think people want to go and laugh at goofy stuff for 2 hours and not. They get tough lives, and they come in and they get a babysitter. They get stressful lives. They get tough jobs. Maybe no job, and they just want to go and relax. And I don't think they want the thought police in there.
Right.
But it's starting to happen in a lot of places. We almost named Laugh Boston the First Amendment Comedy Club. That was on our short list to name it, and I won't rule it out that we'll name something else there at the point because I just think comedy's come under siege in a lot of ways.
Just promise me you won't ever name one of them the Second Amendment.
No. Comedy clubs without booze are not a good mix.
What was your favorite time in Boston comedy? Like, what years?
I guess just starting out, because I was just so excited that I was involved in something. Watch these guys, on cable, and I started going to comedy clubs when I was a junior in high school. Go to Nick's Comedy Stop, and it just blew me away how funny these people were. And I used to listen to Steve Martin. It was the first album I ever listened to, and just listen to somebody
that was
hold
great. He was
4,000 people in the palm of their hand just standing on stage. But I think every experience is different, every generation. It's just, I have a blast today watching comedy. I think it's great.
That's interesting to hear you say that you started with listening to Steve Martin, because the transitioning to listening to Steve Martin to seeing somebody, especially Steve Martin, like there's so much of Steve Martin that isn't captured on that album that once you actually get into a Knicks and you see it live, it's like a whole different thing.
Well, the other thing too, and this is one thing that's a little bit of a problem with comedy, is so many people watch Netflix and YouTube and all this, and that's great. And I watch it tons, like I love it. But stand-up comedy in the club, it's on steroids. It's like whatever you see like Dave Chappelle do on Netflix, it's enjoyable. I love watching it. You watch him in a club, and it's like you walk out of there and you're talking about it for like 2 weeks.
TV sanitized. You're not going to see the server who drops a tray of drinks during the headline is set and how they react to that. You're not going to see the person heckling. They sanitize it so much. It's not like, you see so many crazy stuff at shows that happens that I just feel like, in a comedy club, it's 200, 150, 200 people, complete strangers who will never be in the same room ever together again.
True.
And they're sharing, that's a one-time experience.
You can't go to the movies all that often and see a comedy with a room full of people. They don't produce comedies. It's too difficult. Like, it's just not there. But you can go to a comedy club and laugh, like you said, laugh with strangers. It's going to have to evolve into almost like a speakeasy where it's like, hey, you have to go, if you want that thing we got, you have to go to this place.
Well, Chappelle and Chris Rock have started, and some comedy clubs have started around the country where they make you lock your phones.
Right. Yeah, love it.
And it's
I saw Chris Rock, and you had to leave your phone
because they don't want the material out there before it reaches the special. But the other thing, they don't want to be taken out of context. Some idiot. What are you going to do with that? Tapes 10 seconds of something, out a 3-minute joke, and it gets taken out of context. The comedian gets in trouble. And it's
person feels important for 12 seconds on social media. That's exactly why it's done.
At least 12 seconds.
Where was King Tut born?
Egypt.
Thank you.
What was that?
What do you mean, Steve Martin?
Oh, I got.
Where did Steve Martin say he was born?
At a condo made of Stona.
Thank you.
King Tut.
I just want to make sure. I knew he liked Steve. I heard he liked Steve Martin right there, so I had to figure it out.
Steve Martin. When people meet Steve Martin, they want his autograph.
I've heard
he hands them a business card that says, "I met Steve Martin."
I've thought about this. If I'm ever in an environment where I could possibly meet Steve Martin, like if I know I'm going into an environment, I want to have a counter card made up. So when he hands it to me and be like, "This card is receipt of having."
I hate him in his movies.
It should say Martin Shorts was better.
The Jerk was pretty funny.
No, The Jerk was great, but the newer movie.
Did you say you hate him?
No, The Parents. What's that one he was in?
Parenthood.
You're
thinking of The Father of the Bride. Parenthood is amazing.
Yeah, Father of the Bride.
Oh, I think a lot of these guys, like the Comedy Central roast of Alec Baldwin was on last night, and it was so much fun. I watched every minute of it, and I can't wait to watch it again tonight. But De Niro's
You
up
watch the
there.
same movie 2 nights in a row?
No, There's Something About Mary is the one movie I went to that people were laughing so hard in the theater that I went back the next night because I missed lines of it. To me, it should have won the Oscar.
That was a great.
I'm always bullshit that they don't ever nominate a comedy for best movie.
Only one has ever won, and it was Annie Hall.
Oh, I didn't even know that won. That's a great movie.
Jim Carrey legitimately should have 2 Oscars on his mantle.
What's the other one?
The Truman Show, and maybe Cable Guy.
I love Cable Guy.
That's an underrated. Not everybody agrees with it. I think
it's
great.
a dark, comedy. The guy's brilliant.
Something else.
He's out of his mind, but he's just he's from another planet. But
I think that the Oscars should be 5 years after it comes out. You should be eligible for it, so that you could sit with it for 3 minutes, so that you don't just win because it's the hot topic in the month that it came out.
Caddyshack. It took Caddyshack 4 or 5 years to. It was like a wine. It had to age.
Yeah.
People panned it. Yeah, when it first came out, people panned it.
One of the best movies of all time.
Read the book, The Making of Caddyshack. It's one of the best educations you'll get.
I thought you were going to say read the book of Caddyshack, like it was a novel, and I was like, I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, they said all the people who were on the shoot they got cocaine delivered to the golf club, and Ted Knight
Shaka.
was the only like a trained Shakespearean actor, and he was horrified by this whole thing, and
just like his actor in the show.
Yeah, he was just completely horrified by what was going on. Bill Murray was only there for 6 days.
And I heard that
And he never slept.
And he fought Chevy Chase at least 3 times. Like
yeah, there was a little tension there. And I remember that scene that they put him in. I heard that the director was like, I got 2 of the funniest guys in the entire world, and I don't have them in the same scene. And he's like, they put that scene where Chevy Chase goes in. They put it in specific. He's like, there's no way I can have both of these guys in here, and we don't do something with them.
Right.
And it's a great scene.
No one's better than Dangerfield.
I love that guy.
And look at the guy, didn't come to prominence until he's in his 50s.
Guy was the best.
Right?
That's what Mr. Monday's hoping.
He sold did he sell like vinyl siding or something?
He was a Tin Man.
It was a Tin Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, fantastic movie.
Who was the biggest comic?
John Rickles was like an actor. He was like a serious actor. He didn't get into the insult stuff. He was
a handsome man. Who was like the biggest comic that you saw like struggle in the beginning, and then he finally made it big? Like someone who struggled big time.
I'm dating this girl, Luisa Gerasi, years ago. Luisa's a great girl.
Italian girl. How'd she make a sauce?
Yeah, they're a great Italian family. The mother was Scottish, and so Luisa was 17. I was 18. Her sister Catherine was better looking than Luisa was. She was 19.
Did you go after her?
No, they worked at the Newport. I was just so happy to be with Luisa, and so they worked at the Newport Creamery.
Did you marry an Italian woman?
No, I did not. Well, half Italian, but they lived in Newton, and they worked at the Newport Creamery, and they worked with this guy named Joe
Rogan.
And, yeah, Catherine had a boyfriend who was, a tough customer from Somerville. He sold used cars and I think other things on the side, and
out of the trunk.
He was tough, and so, but Catherine, I'd go pick up Luisa and Catherine at Newport Creamery and drive them home or whatever, Catherine doesn't come home with us one time. I said, well, she was working with you, and she said, yeah, Joe's driving her home because he makes these comedy tapes at home. He wants to be a comedian. He'd make her sit in the car and listen to these tapes. So a couple of weeks later, Luisa called me on a Monday afternoon. She said, do you want to go to Nick's Comedy Stop tonight? I said, it's Monday night. Everybody loves Mondays, and so
this guy picks up quick.
So I said, what the hell is going on at Nick's Comedy Stop? She said, it's open mic night, and Joe's going to be there. He's going in with his family.
You didn't know his last name?
We're going to be there. Probably didn't know his last name, didn't realize it. So we go to the show, and he's absolutely terrible. It's embarrassing how bad he is, right? So he came home with us.
I think he was nervous because
I'm in the back seat with Joe Rogan, and he says, how do you think I did? And I'm being a wise guy. Oh, you're going to be a superstar. It's going to be amazing. You're going to like the
maybe you gave him the confidence he needed to be big. You might have been the guy.
3 years later, that was 88. 3 or 4 years later, I'm now working at Dick Doherty's at Light Ships. I'm making $7 an hour. Right?
It's more than I make right now.
Who comes in but Joe Rogan, fresh off a $350,000 holding deal with Disney? The networks used to pay you a lump sum of money and hold you for a year till they could figure out what to do with you. And sometimes they just give you the money and you just got it and they did nothing. Then they release you, whatever.
They don't do that anymore.
So I was making fun of the kid in the car 4 years earlier, and now he's doing circles around me. So that's the I've learned with comedian. Bill Burr was the same way. That was just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But I've made apologies to both of them. I've told them, and I don't judge any comedian until they've been doing it for 10 years. Not as a hobby, but they've been doing it for 10 years. It takes a while to find your voice.
Gotta get your craft.
The 19-year-old Eddie Murphys are few and far between. It's
crazy.
That guy was he's one of my favorites.
Doesn't even make sense when you watch those specials. It's
the man.
Like,
He made comedy shows like rock shows. I saw him. I don't know if it was Delirious or Raw, but I saw him in '87, '88 at the Centrum in Worcester.
Raw.
Was it Raw? I mean, it was mind
Juju
blowing.
Beats.
Did you ever hear the story of Rodney Dangerfield with Eddie Murphy? And
No.
So Eddie Murphy did Inside the Actors Studio. It was great. I saw this. And this woman gets up at the end and she's like, do you have any advice to a young actress that's trying to make her way? And Eddie Murphy goes, my advice is don't take any advice. And he goes, what I mean by that is, he goes, I was 16 years old and I played the comic strip down in Florida, which, by the way, is insane. He's a New York guy, 16 years old, playing a comedy show weekend in Florida.
People don't even laugh down there.
But I mean, just imagine being a teenager and somehow being like, it's crazy. But anyways, he's like, Rodney Dangerfield was doing a theater right down the street. And he goes, he came into the comedy club to try out some material, and everybody was floored. And he's like, I was young enough to not grasp the importance of the moment. I just said, hey, would you check out my set? And he's like, sure, kid, I'll check out your set. And he's like, I went up, I did my 10 minutes, and he's like, I crushed. And he's like, it felt awesome. And I was like, Mr. Dangerfield, what do you think about my set? And he's like, I don't know, kid. You said some stuff out there. It's kind of offensive. I don't know. With that language you use, you might not go anyplace. And he goes, I was crushed. He's like, I was crushed because this is Rodney Dangerfield, and I thought I did great, and he didn't like it. 6 years go by.
He knew that he was going to surpass him.
He goes, now I've released Delirious. He's like, I'm on Saturday Night Live. I got movies coming out. I'm at Caesar's Palace. I just do a sold-out show. I walk off stage. I'm using the bathroom. And he goes, I'm at the urinal. Someone walks into the bathroom, and it's Rodney Dangerfield. It's the first time he's seen him. And he goes, he walks up to the urinal next to him. He goes, who knew?
Michael Che, who's the one of the head writers at SNL, is on Weekend Update. We had, after the SNL's 40th anniversary or 45th anniversary a few years ago,
I remember that.
We had him at Laugh Boston, and I picked him up at South Station. This was like 4 days later. So then I had him the next day for press, and so we're hanging on the car. He's a good guy, and so I said, tell me about what it was like. So he's telling me about the Eddie Murphy stuff. He said, so everybody's there for this anniversary. Beyonce and Jay-Z and Donald Trump before he's president.
They were great comedians.
Everybody's there on they're like an open. No, but it's a party on the stage before the show, and he said everybody's waiting for Eddie Murphy. He hadn't been back to the set since he left the show. Eddie Murphy comes walking in, the sunglasses on, and he said, everybody, no matter who it was, took out their cell phone, the camera, and started taking pictures of Eddie Murphy, and they were surrounding him. He said 30 seconds later, Paul McCartney walked in, and no one turned around.
A Beatle.
He said it was it was a mother effing Beatle walked in, and nobody cared because it was Eddie Murphy.
Doesn't he have something coming up, Eddie Murphy?
There's rumors he's going to go back out. That Netflix is going to pay him an outrageous amount of money, go back out on tour.
Look, I want to see it. I really do want to see it. But that being said, I'm like, Eddie Murphy to me is like, when that guy was the top of stand-up, it was the best. It was the absolute best. And I'm like, how do you take 30 years off and come back and be even in that realm? I hope he does.
I don't think
I hope he does.
I don't think
love
it's a question that he could.
I think it'd be like watching Ali, in the later years. It was painful.
I just don't like the idea of Netflix coming and saying, "Will you do this?" versus him going, "I got this. I want to do this."
Yeah, but no, here's the thing: he doesn't need the money from Netflix, so I think he wants to do it. Don't get me wrong; it's going to be like, "I want to do this, but I also want $70 million."
But you have to grind that out in the clubs. It's not
which is the thing.
Material. You have to go out in the clubs and do that, and
we'll
see if he wants to do that.
And here's it: is he going to go out there and be able to do 10 and 15 minutes and work through material? Because everybody goes in there with this view of what you are, and it's like he can't go in there and just be
he steps on stage again. 500 phones are going to pop up, and he's not going to be able to get a set out.
I bet you they confiscate all phones.
They'll make everybody sign NDAs and all kinds of stuff.
So you're an admin at Northeastern.
Yeah, I'm vice president of
smooth segue, Carlo.
Community Affairs there. Yeah,
I'm just tired of listening to you. And you also run Laugh Boston.
Yep.
So I mean, what made you get into education?
Well,
you're smart.
No, God no. I took the scenic tour through UMass Boston, like 8 or 9 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was fun. But no, I was on the Boston City Council, and I was there for almost 10 years. I wanted to run for mayor of Boston. That's what I wanted to do since I was a kid. And so, but I had the best of both.
Can I be a campaign manager?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
Those days, Northeastern, I mean, Mayor Menino was there, and if he didn't get sick, he would have run again, and you just don't know. My kids were 2 and 4 at the time.
Menino was great. He was feel
awesome.
like Menino is one of the few politicians, even though it's at a local level, what I mean, the Boston level as opposed to national, but like everybody was on board with that guy for the most part. I mean, it seemed like everybody, like he was a pretty well-beloved guy everywhere.
He was extraordinary. He'd bring me in for all these talks all the time. He was, his linguists weren't the best, but if he could speak, he would have been president of the United States, because his political and people antenna was off the charts.
Right.
He used to bring me in all the time. He said, look, he said, once you get out of bed in the morning, your day is over.
Right.
He said, it's about your tomorrows. So be planning out your tomorrows.
I remember you telling me a story one time that there was like 2 feet of snow, something ridiculous. The city isn't going anywhere. And there was like this 17-year-old kid that was getting his Weeblo Scout badge, and they called you because they're like, Tobin.
Wait a minute. a Cub Scouts thing called a Weeblo badge?
Is it there's no, Eagle Scout?
It's an Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout. That's what it is.
All right, it's all adding up. Thank you. Go on.
I don't know. Yeah. It's Eagle. But I remember you telling
I was
me
going
that.
anyway, and the mayor was going. It's an Eagle Scout.
Because it was like around the corner from you.
Right down the street. It's a Saturday night, and one of the championship games was the conference championship night. No, it couldn't have been. It was a divisional championship.
It was against the Raiders.
No, that wasn't the Patriots game. It was just the Pats weren't playing. But anyway, I'm home. There's 3 feet of snow. I'm like, so I gotta go. It's down the street from my house, and I go in. There's like 17 people there, and Mayor Menino's sitting there, the mayor of Boston sitting there. And I sat next to him. I said, I can't believe you're here. He says, why wouldn't I be here? He says, it's an important night for this kid. He'll never forget it. He said, look around. He said, all these 17 people, they're all voters. And he was leaving there to go to another event, in Randolph. I was going back into my pajamas.
That's hardcore.
Who was the comic that hooked you in the business? Like when you saw him, you knew you wanted to be involved in like comedy.
Oh, man. The first comedy show I ever saw at Nick's Comedy Stop in 1986, Don Gavin was the headliner. And that was Kevin Knox, who passed away, who was amazing.
Kevin Knox.
And DJ Hazard. And Steve Sweeney came off the street and closed out a surprise guest set. I remember walking out of there with my friends. I said, we had never seen anything like that in our entire lives. It was just it was like a whole new world to us.
They're all kinetic for the most part, or it's like
it's a good state.
Kevin Knox is one of the few comedians that I've ever been around in terms of everybody loved the guy. Like every comedian, oh yeah, most of the guys like him. These 12% of the people fucking hate him. They talk shit behind his back. Kevin Knox, no one.
Crazy. The mullet, and he lived in Stoneham, and I ran a club up in Andover, and he hosted every Thursday night. He'd ride his 10-speed from Stoneham in long bike shorts, his flowing hair looked like Leif Garrett, and he had like a Nike jacket on with no shirt underneath there with a big hairy chest. He'd be sweating, and he'd get up on stage, how's everybody doing? And he'd just go insane. And then I remember there was a woman who worked with me, and she was one of the door people, and she started dating Kevin. And
so we had to get a 2-seater?
Yeah, so she started dating Kevin, but Kevin wasn't unpopular with women, so I remember after about 3 months, she says, I've got something to tell you. She says, Kevin and I are talking about getting married. And you never want to blow anybody's cover, but I didn't want to hurt her. And I said, Kelly, let me...
Is he still living right now?
No, he passed away.
That's why you're talking about him.
Only in a good way. He was amazing. He died. He had cancer for like 8 years, and he fought it through herbal medicine and stuff like that. And it's such a shame. He was probably the most popular. He wasn't in all those older guys. He was kind of like the next class, but he was like adored by all of them. And
he's beloved.
Yeah, I just sat down and said, Kelly, I said, that's probably not going to happen. I don't want to burst your bubble. I didn't want to see her get hurt. Plus, he was,
would have caught a social disease.
But he was like, after she'd finish a show and just women would flock around him, He just had a great personality. And
I remember I did a show with him at Tommy's Comedy Lounge, and there were 6 people there. 6. Okay? And this guy's energy was so fucking off the charts, I can't even describe it to you. And I turned to Tom Dustin, and I go, look at this guy. And this is like the second time I'd ever seen him. And I go, look at this guy. I go, there's 6 people in here right now.
He wouldn't care if there was 6 or 6,000.
And he goes,
he treated every show the same.
I go, you'd think Madison Square Garden was packed. And Tom Dustin looked at me and goes, that's why he's a professional.
I was at open mic night one time at Nixon's, a kid just bombing, just like nobody's business. And he's finishing up, and I'm sitting behind Kevin Knox. He turns around and he says, he's going to be a star. And he gets up on stage, and he says, how about a big hand for Bill? And he says, gold right there, gold, right? And it just
Last thing I want to ask you before we move on is, you involved in that Nahant thing going on over there, Northeastern and Nahant?
We love being in Nahant. We've been there since 1967.
It's been that long?
Yeah, we have a place up there in Nahant, and so.
Where does Northeastern have a place in Nahant?
You never heard about this?
We have a marine biology
center. I thought you knew everything. You kind of shop.
Is there a marine biologist here?
Anyway, let's support our town administrator in the Nahant over there, Tony Barletta.
He's a good man.
He's a good kid, isn't he?
He's a good man. He's got a tough job.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Tough kid. He'll be fine. Kluski, what do we got from Mr. Tobin here?
Well, we know John has seen a lot of Boston over the years between politics and comedy. We're going to show you a couple of images and places, maybe some people. You tell us the first thing that pops into your mind. A story, an insult, whatever you feel.
A Rorschach test.
To some degree, yes. And the first insight into your soul is going to come when we get your feelings on the combat zone.
The depraved.
That was the prequel to The Departed, I think, right?
The depraved.
Yeah, I got my... I was a little bit young to be frequenting the combat zone, as everybody knew it. But I did get a fake ID down there.
I got my first fake ID there too, John. We had a lot in common.
18 and 19 years old. Yeah, my name is like James Jensen from Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and it only worked at like 3 places.
That's two more than you needed back then.
It worked at Walk Hill Liquors in Jamaica Plain.
I got a military ID because you could get anything with a military ID. You go anywhere, you were fine. Didn't matter. We had a kid growing up in West Roxbury who was like 17, got in a bad car accident, was laying in the back seat of a car, and it got broadsided. And he broke his neck. Did he buy for you guys?
But he got one of those halos, that they screw into your head. He had it on for like a year.
Oh my God.
He's all right now, but he went to the registry and got a fake ID. Who's going to tell him it's not him?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's you.
Yeah. That's a great move.
I mean, that's
a great move.
Turning lemons into lemonade.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
How about the Naked Eye Lounge? Did you ever frequent there?
No, I never frequented there. No, that was
the combat zone's in a video game.
What a stink that place! I walked in there one time. What a stink!
I forget what video game it is, but the combat zone is actually
Fallout,
you can select the environment that you play in, and one of them is the Boston Combat Zone.
I'm pretty sure that's where all the porn mags in the woods came from.
You
right?
guys don't even remember the combat zone. You guys messed out.
Yeah,
missed out.
Seeing we don't remember that, let's go to something that you don't remember. Patrice Oneal is the next one.
How do you know how to remember him?
Yeah, the rehearsal.
Isn't that Shaq's brother?
I had never heard of Patrice. I'm running the Aku Aku in Worcester, the comedy club. It's 1995, 96.
Is that Dick's room?
It was Dick's room, yeah. And there was an important element to the story. There's whenever the WWEF, whatever they call themselves, whenever the wrestlers are in town doing a show at the Centrum, they always eat their Chinese food at the Aku Aku. So there's a show this particular night on a Saturday. So I'm down on a Friday. I'm down the end of the hall waiting for the show, about an hour and a half before the show starts. And here comes this gigantic man. Patrice was 6'4", 375 pounds at least. And he comes around the corner, and I look at him, and I said, "Oh, sir, you guys are on the other side of the restaurant."
Oh God!
He says, "What do you mean by you guys?"
Oh
You mean the hot
God!
guys? And I said, "No, the wrestlers." He said, "I'm not a wrestler." And I said, "What are you?" He says, "I'm a comedian." I said, "Oh." I said, "You come to watch the show?" He says, "I'm on the show." And I said, "I have the list, and there's a name Patrice Oneal. I assume it's a woman."
It sounds like it.
And Irish.
And he says, "I'm Patrice Oneal. I'm Patrice Oneal." And so we started off rough, but we ended up talking. He had taken a bus down there, and he says, "Where do you live?" I said, "West Roxbury." He's from Roxbury. Great football player at West Roxbury High School in Northeastern.
Oh wow!
And
we
start
played
talking.
at Northeastern.
Then he blew out his knee.
Look how big his hands are.
Yeah, gigantic.
I never heard that before.
No, it
Wow.
was on the line. And so I said, he said,
Field goal
"Can I get a ride home?" And I said, "Yeah." So I give him a ride home.
You think he was going to give you a beating?
Well, we didn't know in Worcester. There's like 3 feet. If it snows in Boston, it snows 3 feet more in Worcester. In that band, we had no idea. There were no windows in the place. It was 3 feet of snow on the ground, and I have a 2-seat, for whatever reason, I don't even know why, Honda Del Sol. I don't know why.
Do they still make those?
No, it was like driving a Frisbee down the street. So he gets in the car with me. He's enormous, so we have to get all the snow off the car and then shove it out. It's not really good in the snow. So he's sitting on top of me. He's holding the door shut. He's so big, and he's on top of me. He's holding the door shut.
Is he like a 300-pounder?
Oh, more.
He's like 350.
And his right knee was blocking one of the defrosters, so every 15 minutes we had to pull over in 290 and wipe off the windshield. And that's like, it took us 3 hours to get home. So he says, "I'm getting a bus ride down tomorrow. Can I get another ride home tomorrow?" I said, "Oh, yeah." So I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I didn't live at home. My parents had a minivan. So that Saturday I said to my mother and father, I said, "You guys going out tonight?" And they said, "No, why?" I said, "We just trade cars in case you need it for an emergency." And what are you doing? I said, "I got to bring this comedian home." My mother said, "How big is he?" I said, "You don't even want it. We almost got killed last night." So I take the minivan down. We do the 2 shows on Saturday at the Aku Aku. Patrice is talking. You could. I wish I had a tape recorder. He could cut albums just talking to you.
I didn't know he died.
So we're out in the parking lot. There's only 3 cars left in the parking lot. It's like 2:00 in the morning, and Patrice looks up and he says, "Hey, John, someone stole your car." And I said, "No, this is it." I hit the beep of the minivan. I said, "This is mine." He says, "How old are you?" And I said, "I'm 22." And he says, "You own 2 cars?" And I said, "No, well, this is my parents' car." And then it dawned on him. He says, "You mean to tell me you brought a van to drive me home? A van? A van? What am I, an animal?" And the whole thing. And so I ended up driving him home. And he'd talk, and then every 5 minutes he'd go, "A van." And I mean, we stopped at a store 24. He went to get some Pepsi and some Fritos or Doritos or whatever. It's like 3:00 in the morning, and there's a security. I'll never forget this.
It's a real health
right
nut.
up in front of the thing. We pull right up in front of the store 24, the 7-Eleven, or whatever it was, and there's a security guy inside the door, and he's talking to the cashier, and they can see out, and there's 4 good-looking young girls walking down the street. And so the door guy, we watched this happen, slings open the door like he's at the Four Seasons, welcoming the girls in, he's talking to them.
Are they hookers?
No, they were young girls, and so probably coming out of clubs or whatever. So he's talking. So then Patrice says, "We're going to try a social experiment. Yep. Let's see if the doorman is so willing to open up the door for the big black guy." And I said, "All right." He said, "What do you think?" I said, "Yeah, he's going to open the door for you." He says, "I don't think so." And he gets out of the car. All I can see is the back of him. I can't see his face. And so I can see the security guy, and he's looking away. He looks at Patrice, and he looks away, and then he looks at the cashier, and he turns around and doing everything to him. And so I just see Patrice's hands go like this. Like that, and then he proceeds to go and lecture the guy for 15 minutes. So he died. He was on The Office. He did the Charlie Sheen roast, and then he had a massive stroke. He had diabetes, didn't take great care of himself. 40 years old. He had a stroke, and then about 6 months later had another one and passed away.
This is the one thing I always think about with Patrice Oneal. Besides how unbelievable his comedy was, because he's Patrice Oneal to me is one of the best comedians that's ever lived. I love watching that guy.
You're in luck because there's 100 guys trying to be him still to this day.
But here's my thing. I always think this. Whenever XYZ weirdo circumstance happens, which happens every single day now in the world, I'm always like, I would love to hear what Patrice thinks about this. Yeah. You know, I don't think that about anybody else that's passed away in terms of comedy. Like, I'd love to hear their thoughts.
Why, you're glad they're all dead?
No, Patrice was brilliant.
All the people that I think about have passed away, it's usually a sex thing.
All right.
Moving on to the next one. What are your thoughts on the Big Dig? Speaking of sex.
It's a lovely park. I mean, the Ferris wheel, and you can walk across the city. But $24 billion doesn't buy you what it used to.
Was it that much? Was it $24 billion?
I think it got up to about $24 billion.
It was supposed to be $2 billion in 8 years, and it came in like the low 20s, I think, for billions, and 24 years.
Well, they started talking about the project in the 70s with Tip Oneal when he was the speaker. Oh yeah, Mike.
Guys are making big money. I mean, cops are making big money. I mean, everyone's getting double dipping. Everyone's making serious cash.
People made a fortune off that thing. I will say, my father was a construction worker, and I inherited none of it, and so he could just build like a deck out of like chewing gum and lint.
Huh? He didn't want you to. Would your father want you to be in construction?
I wouldn't have. Well, I had no choice. I wouldn't have lasted 20 seconds of doing what he did. You know, he was a laborer. You know, and a tender.
Local 22.
223. Yeah, and but he worked. He was in the Irish local, but he worked for Italian guys out of Alston Brighton, Iggy Salvucci. Bricklayers, you know.
Iggy Salvucci.
Iggy Salvucci was his boss. He was really good to him, and so my father drove the truck for him, mixed cement.
Was your father from Ireland?
No, his parents were, but he was not.
I mean, so some of the greatest guys I ever worked with were the old school Irish guys from Ireland. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
hardest workers, greatest guys.
Yeah, and so, but I took him when I was running for office, I knew the guy who ran the thing, so I took my father for a tour of the Big Dig while they were building it. We were down 18 stories. And my father was in heaven. That was the best thing he ever did in his life, was touring the Big Dig, you know. So selfishly, the Big Dig has worked for me.
What office you ran from? Those Boston City Council?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You said they were planning it since the 70s, or it was a thought?
They started talking about it in the 70s.
I remember hearing about it.
How do you even come close to where you
need
to
be? And then when they started doing it, was like the 90s, right?
Yeah.
They started in the 80s. That absolutely started in the 80s. Like, I'd say late 80s, 87, 88, it started.
The ice cream came out shortly thereafter. All right, let's go to another one. Louis C.K. He's a Boston guy, right?
Newton, yeah. Yeah.
Him and Rogan, two pretty successful guys from Newton, huh?
Yeah, there's a ton of people from Newton that have. What's his face? Matt LeBlanc from Friends.
I've heard that. I've heard that he's from
a
there.
Newton guy.
Carlo, you should check it out. I'm telling you, you're gonna fucking love it.
Friends,
Start with
I
the
know about
Thanksgiving
it.
episode. Oh my God!
I know a lot about
and
Friends.
I'm a
buddy.
Phoebe guy. I think you'll
I
like
agree with
Monica.
I know a lot about Friends, and you're not one of them.
I agree with you on the Star Wars thing, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, it was. I don't think it was the most. It was not exactly a secret what was going on.
Wasn't Jennifer Aniston in that?
In Friends, yeah, definitely, for sure.
Thank you.
His management is asked to
She was nice
play
underwear.
at the club. Who's that?
Jennifer. She was really nice underwear.
Oh yeah, how do you know?
I heard about it.
That's interesting. Is like at the management asks they have to he kind of is in that position where he has to ask permission if that would be. Whereas before it would be like people would just give up the stage for this guy.
Well, my only thing is we said no, only because if he wants to do a ticketed event at one of our clubs where people know what they're paying for and they know who they're going to see, that's fine with me. But there's still him walking in and doing a surprise guest set. Well, if someone's out on a date on a Saturday night, I don't want to ruin people's night, you know. So as long as you know, we've presented a whole bunch of people at our club, but we want people to know what they're buying. We don't want to be surprised, you know. How long it's going to take for it to. He's back out on the circuit. He's doing clubs here and there and stuff. But yeah, this is day and age with viral stuff. You know, it's just.
My one thing is, I'm like, I don't know what we do when. All right, so somebody screwed up. Okay, do we just make this person go away for the rest of their lives?
Well, he beat himself, Zollo. He beat himself.
But it's like the internet. It doesn't go away. Like I have a friend who used to work for a big. I know a guy who used to work for a big Boston band, and he ended up working for Larry Bird for the Pacers, and he was working for Bird, and the Pacers were playing the Pistons in the playoffs, and this guy, I'm gonna call him Todd, he was working, and he decided to get up, look out the window, and pleasure himself, in the morning. Unbeknownst to him, the Detroit police were staking out the hotel, not looking for guys pleasuring themselves, but something else. They see the binoculars, they get him, and they charge him with indecent exposure and all kinds of stuff, and he ends up losing it. He makes it in the Indiana papers. Bird fires him. So 5 years later, the kid is in Florida. He's working. Bird had left the Pacers, comes back to the Pacers, and he calls up Larry Bird, and he says, "Hey, Todd, how you doing? It's been a long time." He says, "Hey, Larry, I saw you get the job back at the Pacers, and I've cleaned up my act, and I'd love to come back and work for you." And Larry Bird says, "Todd, can I ask you a question?" And Todd says, "What's that, Larry?" He says, "Have you ever Googled yourself?" That's like the words of a philosopher.
That's funny because they're both really good at shooting.
Larry Bird's a cokehead. You know that, right?
No way. Really?
I don't believe one ounce of that.
I think he drinks beers like they're going out of style.
Him and DJ and McHale were doing blow in the 80s. Big time.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
I am
mad about it.
Who cares?
I don't believe it. They were cokeheads.
I'm sorry. I'm not believing it.
Well, that was a big coke decade, right?
It was a coke decade. So they get a free pass, right?
I've never heard one grumbling of that in my entire life.
Listen,
and I've lived around this area.
I worked at the Garden, jerk off. All right. Okay, you worked at Kelly's.
Wow.
You worked at Kelly's roast beef. Hello. Wow. All right. You want me to tell you what's going on or what? Everyone knows that friggin' shit-faced DJ was a cokehead with Bird and McHale. What's the matter with you? Why do you think DJ died young?
I've never heard of this in my entire life.
All right, why don't you do a little...
You've seen his life
hey, why don't you Google it like he was talking about, all right, you jerk? I'm only kidding, Zoe. I love you, but it's true. It's the truth.
Not believing it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break because Zola's pissing me off, all right? Watch our interviews with Stanley Cup finalist Bruins, and we're right back to finish up with John and Don. Yeah! Hey, that's true. I used to work there. Tell me about the summers in Finland.
Summers in Finland, they're great. There's like a beautiful day like this, we got all day, every day, pretty much. No darkness.
The sun shines 24/7
yeah,
over there?
24/7 pretty much for a month and a half, so no better place.
Did you pull a lot of overnighters, like staying up 24 hours, like partying?
Yes. Yes, that's what people do because you can't really go to bed because it's not dark. So you got to do something, right? Might as well drink.
Here I'm a Torey Krug. Are you shitting me? I got this guy here. What brought you out here today?
Just supporting a great cause, good friends, good people. Just hopefully have a great day.
Dude, you were so close last year. You guys were so close. What a year.
Yeah, real close. Disappointing finish, as close as you possibly can be. But unfortunately, life goes on, and we gotta learn to live with it.
Just tell you something. You're a little more handsome than I thought you were gonna be.
Yeah. I was working on it all summer, a little tan,
You're not freaking bad. You got the blue eyes going.
I like European, man.
That's all right. Now your wife's over there. You got beautiful kids. Your wife and you could pass for brother and sister. You ever been told that before?
Oh, really? No.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh, that's great. Maybe. Oh.
Lucky. I mean, you're good looking because she's beautiful.
I mean, there's only 5 million people in Finland, so chances are that we are related.
You might be related somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how are you fighting? Are you a pretty good fighter on the ice? I mean, I don't want to fight you, but I'm just wondering.
I wouldn't say I'm good, but I'd say I'm willing. Yeah, I'm willing.
Now, do you guys like practice with a heavy bag? Like, do you guys?
Some guys do. Yeah, I grew up with a background in like martial arts and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. So I don't like to do it anymore, but when duty calls, I guess.
Hey, you got a good shot, man.
Thanks, man.
Seriously, one of the best shooters I've seen.
Are we talking hockey?
Yeah, we're talking hockey.
Yeah.
Now, are you a good fighter in hockey? Can you fight if you have to?
If I should have picked fight, I would fight on the ice. I would not fight on the street.
Right.
So, I mean, I have fight only once. Didn't go bad, didn't go well, so I'm just gonna leave it for the other guys.
And when you're a goaltender, right? Who's the dirtiest player in the league? Anyone come by and like stick you and cheap shot you? Is there guys out there who like intentionally do that?
Not a whole lot. I think as we get Z in the defense, there people tend to be a little scared of him, so they leave me alone.
I love Mondays.
I hate Mondays, but I like them now because of Carlo.
Starting to love Mondays, so stop turning them. So, Tukka, I want to know if you like Mondays.
I love Mondays.
This guy loves Mondays. The best.
He doesn't.
All right, Klosky, want to run through some jail mail with?
Yeah, here on the Monday Show, we're known for our diverse fan base. One of our strongest demographics is in the prison system, obviously. The jailbirds love Mr. Monday. They can't stop sending mail. We're going to run through a few of them. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Great. Mr. Monday, the first one is from Frank. He's currently upstate on a burglary charge, and he was recently punched in the forehead by an inmate because Frank was professing his love for Mondays. He wants to know if... he wants you to know that he'd take 10 shots to the head just to spread your message.
This guy's as loyal as that lady who waited 23 years to marry the guy who's in the can. I mean, for Mr. Monday.
Hopefully, she gives better head.
Do we have one? Do we have when he's out? Because I want this guy on the show.
I love this guy. Stand up for your rights. You know, usually just.
You got a conjugal with this guy?
No, the guy. You got to learn how to be a defensive fighter. Put your hands up, please. Don't get. Look at that. This
You
is
should
like a
get the I
grapefruit.
Love Mondays like the
logo
right
right
on the lump.
I think he's just smuggling. Anybody else think he's smuggling an 8-ball into the pen?
God bless this guy. Well, thank you very much, Frank. Hey, Frank. God bless you. Keep sticking up for yourself.
That's like a real magic 8-ball, though. Like
that's a bocce.
Getting out anytime
nice
soon
guy.
doesn't look promising.
Who's he in jail with? Tex Cobb? I mean, that's a hell of a shot. Wow.
You probably give Tex Cobb a beating.
You guys ready for another one?
Yeah.
Don't worry, you can make fun of this guy too. The next one is from Andre. This guy is the head librarian at the jail in Shirley, Massachusetts. Someone told him about your movement a few months back, and he's been hooked. Growing up around negativity, he loves your positivity and how you like to push boundaries. He says if you ever had time to come talk, he would love that.
Hey, Tonza, can we set this up? Can we talk to the warden over there at Shirley? And let's go in there. Let's go in there and talk to this guy. I like to enlighten these prison people.
Yeah.
What?
I think Andre is looking for something on the bridge of his nose.
Listen, Mr. Monday loves to give back, and I would love to come there and help the inmates at Shirley out, especially this guy. Look at him.
Did you ever see when Jeff Ross did the roast of the prisoners in Texas?
That was brilliant.
The women's side and the men's side. That was pretty amazing.
That's just a brilliant idea. To be able to go into that environment and pull that off.
It kind of looks like the left eye is roasting the right eye in this picture, doesn't it?
That's my worst fear. Being in jail. I hate to be in jail.
That's one of my worst fears too.
Worse than death.
We have a lot in common. I noticed.
I think you'd play the game well in jail. I think you'd be quite popular.
Oh, yeah?
Quite popular.
I'd be going to Mexico. Sorry, guys.
I feel like Carlo would take over the prison and everybody would be wearing the heart shirts by 2 months in.
No matter where I go, I take it over.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I'm not going there, though. No fucking way.
All right, well, let's see if the next person agrees with you. The next guy's Bobby. He says that he loves comedy and he loved the show last week with Dan Smith. He's hoping to get out soon, and he wants to know if we need any help at breaking balls or, in your construction team.
All right. Well, give this guy my cell number because he seems like a nice guy. He looks like the who's the fighter there? The guy from Ireland.
Oh, McGregor.
Looks like
Conor
him.
McGregor.
Looks like him a little bit. But I don't really need to hire anyone right now. But I know this guy owns a roast beef joint, Tasso. He's hiring, so I think you should get a job with him. And I'll come down, make me a sandwich. We'll shoot the shit. Okay, buddy? Keep up the good work.
Imagine getting locked in with that guy.
I'd have him curl up in the corner and shut up.
Looks friendly.
Yeah. His fingers look friendly. The last one is from Mimi. She's in for aggravated assault on her husband. She says she's not going anywhere anytime soon, but she wants to have your address just so she can send you some gloves that she knitted to keep your feet warm during the winter months that are coming up.
Really? She's gonna knit gloves for my feet, huh? Like, since when did that happen? What do I have? Like, are my feet like hands? Am I Eddie Stinson hands here?
Did you say for feet?
I may have.
Yeah, you did.
I may have.
That's okay. But let me just tell you, the last time I had gloves knitted for me was my grandmother, and she's deceased. You know what? I will adopt you as my grandmother. Okay?
Conjugul visits.
No, I'm going to adopt her as my grandmother.
That's his grandmother.
Okay? Give her my address, and I want, she can mail me a letter, and I'm going to go see her. How do you get in there? The cantina? What do you do here? I got to go sign up?
We'll slip the guard We'll slip the guard some Dick's Bucks or whatever.
She's very funny looking.
Dick's Bucks.
They buy you a what?
All right, John, what do you got? All right, first of all, I just want to say, you did a great job tonight. It's good to see you.
Oh, it's fun to be here. We got a nice operation here. This is great. Nice people.
Can you start hanging around with us a little bit and come to our events and stuff?
I'd love to.
All right, good.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you don't, we're going to kill you.
I know I didn't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah, we'd love you to come around because
Yeah,
you
of course.
fit right in. It's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up? Any big plans or projects? Something? Anything in the works?
We operate. We've got Lap Boston, the Seaport. We've got Nick's Comedy Stop in the Theater District. We've got the comedy scene down at Gillette. We've got the Woo Ha Ha and the Comedy Attic in Worcester, and then we're at MGM in Springfield, and we do a bunch of shows at theaters and places like that. We just acquired the comedy company Treehouse out of Connecticut this weekend.
Near MGM, right?
Yeah, Windsor Locks, Seymour, down in the southern part of Connecticut. So we're pretty excited. We got some national projects we're working on. So it's.
I didn't realize you guys were at Gillette. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've been there for a few years. Yeah.
Yeah, because you've been there a few times, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Carlo, can I plug a show?
You can say. I mean, honestly.
I don't mean to ask.
I know. Just tell me.
This is polite.
Just tell me.
On September 28th, at the American Legion in Medford, we have Dan Smith, Jimmy Cash. We got
Who was on our show last week, Dan Smith.
Friend of the show.
Great kid. Worcester guy.
Yeah, bunch of Worcester guys. It's going to be a little...
Jimmy Cash is very funny.
Yes, he is.
Watch out for that kid.
Yes,
He's
he
very
is.
funny.
I'd like to overrule people coming to see your show and send them out to see my show at the Woo Ha Ha on Friday and
What is this
Saturday.
Woo Ha Ha place? Where is
with
that?
Harrison Stebbins on Friday and Greg Murphy on Saturday and Maya Mannion on Saturday. It's probably going to be the feel-good event of the year, and you guys can.
And the
go
Tobin
fuck
boys need a
yourselves.
new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Come on out.
If you're involved, it's going to be great.
It's going to be. It's Life Magazine is putting it out there as the feel-good event of the year. That's what they're talking about right now.
Yeah, it's right on Franklin Street, behind City Hall in Worcester. Brand new room. It's in behind two restaurants, Revolution and Pie and a Pint Craft Beer, Pie and a Pint.
They got the Paw Sox down there now. They got the hockey
Paw Sox
rink
are going
down
out
there.
to Kelly Square. We just bought season tickets, 2 season tickets for the Paw Sox for 2021.
You ever been to Bruce City?
For the
down
Woo
there?
Sox, you mean?
I have, yeah. I hope they're the Woo Sox.
My buddy Jerry owns that
Do
joint.
they have a deadline? Because I've never gone to Pawtucket to see the Paw Sox, and I'm like, I kind of got to get that done. Do you know the year that they're
Just the
exiting yet?
lifestyle.
2020, they not next year, but 2021
All
they
right,
start in Worcester.
I get time.
Yeah.
So I know what I'll be doing Labor Day 2021.
They just started clearing on the land for the stadium. Yeah, it's exciting. Worcester's, it's had a bad rep. It's been down for a long time. It's nice to see it coming back.
I've been
I've
been there recently.
Worcester
It's
people
something else.
Worcester people are awesome.
Worcester people,
Down to earth.
They're good
dude,
people.
I
Down to
always
earth.
say the way I describe Worcester is they're very Bostonish minus the undercurrent of millennial douche vibe.
When you say down to earth, you mean they can't afford to fly, right?
No, I mean the opposite of you.
I ran the Aku Aku in Worcester too, and believe me, there were times there this legendary, like, Greg Fitzsimmons was on stage there one time, and a fight broke out, and Greg narrated the fight. The Italian fight from the stage.
I heard
It took
he's,
4
I heard
minutes for
he's
the-
had a temper too back in the day. I don't know.
Oh,
how true that
Fitzy,
is.
he admits he's got massive road rage. And he's gotten into fights with a ton of, and he's not that big. But he's one of my favorite comedians of all time. I love
great.
Fitzy.
He's hilarious.
It's first time you met me. What do you think about my haircut?
I like it.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thanks.
Guys our age, there's only certain things you can do with it, you know?
Well, I mean,
Just
I'm
like-
getting a little like St. Anthony up there.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Hey,
I like
listen.
your shoes too.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice handbags. Hey, listen, thank you so much.
Oh.
You're a good guy.
Oh, my
Johnny,
pleasure.
you did a great job.
Thanks for being
as
here.
usual.
Thanks, brother.
Listen, another remarkable Monday in the books. It's going to be a great week. Tune in next week, Monday on 3. 1, 2, 3. Monday!